Good evening, class. This is Group 7, and I am Alia Samru. My colleague Luana Moore and I will be presented on the topic Minors should not choose their gender or have gender reassignment surgery. These are my group members. It's uncertain what causes our self perception of gender or gender identity, but it's evident that our perception is strong. This makes it extremely challenging for transgender people whose gender identity does not correspond to their physical gender. Gender dysphoria is the term for the resulting psychological uneasiness, which is often distressing. Many transgender people do not qualify as gender dysphoric because they are not bothered by the mismatch between the sex given to them at birth and the one which they identify. Minors should not be allowed to choose their gender or have gender reassignment surgery at their will. They are merely minors. They cannot make sensible decisions. Do they even know enough about what gender reassignment surgery is? And what about the psychological problems that will develop when they are old enough to give consent? This is one this is one for too many reasons that my colleague will be discussing. But before we begin, it's important to define some terms that we'll be hearing in the presentation. Firstly, what is a minor? According to the Custody, Contact, Guardianship and Maintenance Act 2011, Guyana, like many other nations, defines a minor as a person under the age of 18. And what is gender dysphoria? Gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder are patients who do not perceive their gender as matching their genetic and sexual traits, have found that gender reassignment surgery is the most successful treatment. Lastly, what is gender reassignment surgery? Gender reassignment surgery is a collection of complex, including genital and non-genital surgical procedures that are often performed to treat gender dysphoria. I'll now hand you over to Luana.
Children are too young to choose their own gender. A child's gender is officially designated at birth based on physical biology, female or male. Young children begin to question gender norms as well as what it signifies to be a male or a female as they grow. Children begin to identify oneself and others in a variety of ways, including gender, via their interactions, and even explorations. The capacity to detect similarities and differences is a crucial talent that youngsters develop over time. It's only natural that minors begin to ask questions to distinguish whether or not they are male or female. However, there are children or young people in today's culture who have identified themselves and are unhappy with their genders for a wide range of reasons. But when it comes to them picking their own gender, they should not be permitted by their parents or even their guardians for a multiple of reasons. Regardless of whether a minor experiences in recognizing their gender or believe that they need to change it, they should not do so when they are old unless they are older enough to make that significant decision. Because why would a minor want to change their gender? Why would they want to have a reassignment surgery? They are not capable enough to do so. The statement that an individual is competent or incompetent is deficient. Why should the stage of a juvenile teenager be taken into account when deciding whether or not to have gender reassignment surgery? Now let's take a look at a child's cognitive growth. Chowdhury defined adolescence as a period in humans that occurs between late childhood and the start of the reproductive lifetime. It's a stage of social self development and consolidation in relation to the social environment. Cognitive development theories, gender development, and gender identity creation creates or occur later in life than in early childhood. These psychologists believe that infants are born gender neutral, which means that no major biological differences between males and females at birth explain later gender discrepancies. As children grow, they learn to integrate new information through cognitive filters allowing them to understand gender information. Now, why should children be allowed to pick their gender if they are incapable of making rational decisions? Many people believe that enabling a youngster to choose his or her own gender is the best approach to raise a child. But I beg to differ. Some parents would go so far as to suggest that they're enabling their child to do whatever they think is best for them. But sometimes doing so might put them in a detriment of their own life. However, according to research, a child's gender is significantly influenced by his or her environment, which is not even physically right. Surgically determining your gender as a minor involves adherence to a modern day myth. A minor cannot alter their gender medically, just as they cannot drive until they are of the legal age to do so. If you push gender stereotypes and societal preconceptions on your children, it might be harmful to them. Allow your children to choose what clothes they want to wear, what toys they want to play with, and what activities they want to participate in. Instead, please do not press them to have gender surgery, even if they express an interest in doing so. Allow them to wait until they are of the legal age to make such big decisions, as they will not later on be regretful. The lack of knowledge about the effects on gender reassignment surgery. Minors are immature and have limited life experience. Another reason adolescents shouldn't be permitted to have gender reassignment surgery at their own will because they are not even old enough to comprehend to the changes to their bodies and the long and short term consequences. Hormones, for example, are utilized in transgender hormonal intervention to assist individuals build congruent secondary sex characteristics and to target the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. The HPG axis is feminized by using androgens to downregulate it and estrogen to feminize it. Estrogen medication reduces gonadotropin levels, which lowers testosterone levels, and as a result, transsexual women's sperm count and motility. The long term effects of this hormone change, however, remain unclear. Now, why? Why would minors want to change their bodies? Why would they want to have reassignment surgery? Why would an individual at such a young age would want to change what God has blessed them with from birth? I'll now hand you over back to my colleague Alia Samaru.
There you have it, class. This brings us to the end of a very informative presentation about why children should not be given the option to choose their own gender. I hope it was a very interesting one and that you learned something. Thank you for listening.